Afternoon. Snow Country Airport. Lu Fan was walking out of the airport with his companion. His expression was calm, as always, yet a distinct confidence shone in his eyes. The area was bustling with travelers, and announcements regarding arriving flights echoed continuously from the loudspeakers, yet, unperturbed by the commotion, Lu Fan headed toward his destination while speaking to someone on the phone. As he walked, Lu Fan carefully reviewed the report on his phone. According to the report, everything concerning Andre was proceeding according to plan. The crisis involving the ancient gods, instigated by the Montetop family, had also been fully resolved. Lu Fan breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing this news. Just then, the white-haired man walking beside him spoke. Our mission in Snow Country is now complete. Upon our return, our top priority should be to investigate the far north. That is likely where we will find the next clue regarding the ancient gods. Lu Fan nodded silently, discussing the report. Lu Fan and his companion made their way toward the airport exit. Lu Fan's companion took a ticket from his pocket, held it out to the woman, and asked, "Excuse me, are you here to pick us up?" The woman glanced at the ticket and replied with a smile. As soon as he stepped out of the airport, Lu Fan held his phone to his ear and immediately made a call. Once the call connected, he said, "Hello, Professor Olivia. Things are progressing rapidly according to plan. If you have the time, there are some important matters I need to discuss with you." The reply came from the other end. "Excellent. Your progress so far has far exceeded my expectations. Get to Dragon Capital Academy as soon as possible. We will plan our next steps together there." Shortly after the phone call ended, Lu Fan arrived at the Dragon Capital Academy. The serene atmosphere of the academy didn't seem to suggest that this ancient academy, nestled among tall bamboo trees, had been producing countless powerful warriors over the years. As Lu Fan stepped onto the campus, a familiar voice rang out from inside. "You're here again, and this time much sooner than I expected." The voice belonged to Professor Young Bang. A slight smile appeared on his face. As soon as he reached the professor, Lu Fan stated his purpose without any preamble. "I need to attain the power of the fifth advancement as soon as possible. Please tell me what rare resources are required for this." There was no trace of haste in Lu Fan's voice, only unwavering determination. It was as if time was slipping through his fingers, leaving him not a single moment to waste. Professor Young Bang listened to him attentively. Then, a faint smile appeared on his face. "It seems you aren't quite as astute as I had thought. I had assumed that by simply attending the investiture ceremony, you would have grasped this on your own." The professor's reply made it clear that the secret of the fifth advancement was not to be found in any ordinary book, but rather within that exclusive ceremony, an event to which not everyone gained entry. Lu Fan fell silent for a moment upon hearing the professor's words. Sheer astonishment was visible on his face. "What do you mean?" he asked immediately. The professor leaned back in his chair with a faint smile. He already knew that Lu Fan was completely unaware of his true potential. He spoke in a calm voice. "Lu Fan, you are no longer an ordinary human. You have become an ancient deity. Therefore, the path for you to gain power is vastly different from that of others. Simply changing classes is no longer your ultimate goal." Lu Fan's eyes narrowed upon hearing this. The professor continued, "The power of the abyss resides within you. With this power, you can drag your enemies into the abyss, eliminate them there, and absorb their entire energy into yourself. The more energy you absorb, the faster your power will grow." Lu Fan stood in silence for a moment after listening to the professor. Then he asked in a firm voice, "If I too were to gain power by devouring the energy of my enemies, using the power of the abyss, what difference would remain between me and those ancient gods who drove the entire world to the brink of destruction?" A silence fell over the room for a few moments. Lu Fan declared his decision without hesitation. "I will not change my path. I still wish to advance along the path of the dragon tamer. The power of the abyssal ancient god will serve merely as a supplementary force for me. My true goal is to achieve the fifth advancement of the dragon tamer." There was no greed in Lu Fan's eyes, only unwavering conviction. He desired power at any cost, but not at the expense of his identity and principles. A faint smile appeared on Professor Young Bang's face upon hearing Lu Fan's resolute decision. He was now convinced that Lu Fan would never misuse his power. He slowly opened his desk drawer and took out an old, yellowed map. Placing the map before Lu Fan, the professor said, "If you truly wish to complete the fifth advancement of the Dragon Tamer, You must go to the Eastern Sacred Land. That is where you will find all the breakthrough materials you are seeking. Liu Fan glanced at the map. It depicted a mysterious path leading to a perilous location marked at the end. It was evident that reaching that destination would be far from easy. 1 month later, after a long journey, Liu Fan finally reached the main stronghold of the Flame Python cult, one of the most dangerous regions in the Eastern Sacred Land. From a distance, he saw figures clad in red robes engaged in a mysterious ritual before a massive stone temple. The sound of incantations echoed across the area, as if preparations were underway to awaken some terrifying power. But then, Liu Fan's gaze fell upon the interior of the temple. 2 innocent people were there, gripped by sheer terror. Tears streamed down their faces as they screamed for help. Their expressions betrayed the realization that they were about to be sacrificed. Suddenly, the entire temple complex shook violently. Boom! The ground began to crack open in several places, and the very next moment, a colossal, monstrous serpent emerged from beneath the earth. It was the level 130 Flame Python, the most dangerous guardian of the Flame Python cult. Its glowing red eyes burned like embers in the darkness, while its massive body dominated the entire area. As it emerged, stones were sent flying through the air, and a cloud of dust billowed all around. But its most dangerous attribute wasn't just its raw power. This monster could vanish into the ground in an instant and launch a surprise attack from any direction. Moreover, any attack directed at its fire-hardened scales could inflict severe damage upon the attacker themselves. Liu Fan studied the massive beast closely and instantly realized, if I attack without a plan, this fight will be over before it even begins. A faint smile appeared on Liu Fan's face. After all, he was not alone. Standing behind him were his loyal and powerful pet companions, who had fought alongside him in countless battles. Each possessed a unique and devastating power. Upon seeing the Flame Python, Liu Fan smiled and remarked, "Humph, it's just a big snake. Xiao Yi, if you wanted, you could finish it off with a single meteor." Hearing this, his pet companions grew excited as well. Liu Fan laughed and added, "Killing it in a single strike would be too boring. It would be better to just flatten it in one go. Finishing it off in a single blow would be too dull. It would be better to slowly drain its strength using electric shocks." But Liu Fan knew the enemy before him was far more cunning than it appeared. In an instant, he gauged the Flame Python's movements and shouted a command, "Everyone, surround it. Don't let it burrow back underground under any circumstances." Upon receiving the order, his pet companions scattered in different directions, cutting off every escape route for the Flame Python within seconds. For the first time, the massive beast found itself completely surrounded. A gleam appeared in Liu Fan's eyes as he closely observed the massive serpent. He immediately recalled the map the professor had given him. "So, this is it. The golden python I was searching for," Liu Fan said to himself. Everything began to make sense to him now. The Flame Python cult worshipped this colossal creature, revering it as the flame god. Not only that, but they would even sacrifice innocent people to gain its power. Liu Fan gazed at the entire scene with anger and spoke in a cold voice, "Sacrificing humans just for power? What utter foolishness! This is no god. It is merely a powerful creature." As soon as they received Liu Fan's command, his pet companion sprang into action. The very next moment, his blue dragon soared high into the sky and let out a thunderous roar. The very next moment, the Flame Python unleashed its special ability. Icy energy rapidly spread around it, and in the blink of an eye, a massive wall of ice rose up. Within seconds, the entire area was transformed into an icy enclosure. The true purpose of this power wasn't to strike the enemy directly, but to trap them. Anyone caught inside this icy ring would see their speed drop to almost zero, while the freezing ice slowly began to encase their entire body. Yet, Liu Fan stood completely calm. He glanced at the icy wall and, with a faint smile, said, "So, this is your power. But merely stopping me doesn't guarantee victory." Upon receiving Liu Fan's command, his pet companion stepped forward. The very next moment, a terrifying surge of energy erupted from its entire body, and it unleashed its special ability. In the blink of an eye, its power swept across the battlefield. The attack was so swift that the Flame Python didn't even have a chance to react. This was exactly what Liu Fan had intended. He had assigned specific roles to each of his pets to ensure that no attack went to waste. Now, the Flame Python was completely surrounded. Attacks from various powers were raining down on it from every direction, and all avenues of escape had been sealed off. Upon receiving Eleufan's command, his lightning element pet leaped into the air. "Where do you think you're going? Can you really escape my thunder prison?" With those words, it spread its arms wide. The very next moment, countless bolts of golden lightning cascaded from the sky, instantly forming a massive cage of electricity around the flame python. Lightning struck its body from every direction. The heart of the flame python struggled to break free. The tighter the electric shocks gripped it, within moments, its massive body began to writhe in agony. Standing at a distance, Eleufan smiled faintly as he watched the scene unfold. So in the end, "You're trying to flee?" He had known all along that the flame python's greatest strength lay in its ability to escape by burrowing underground, but this time, Eleufan had already prepared a countermeasure for every move it might make. The very next moment, Eleufan realized his mistake. No, it's not trying to escape. The flame python had merely feigned burrowing underground to divert everyone's attention. But suddenly, crash! He shot out of the ground at lightning speed and lunged straight at the smallest and weakest-looking pet companion of Luo, Feng. He reasoned that if he eliminated the easiest target first, the entire team's strategy would fall apart. The very next moment, the flame python made its move with lightning speed. It lunged and clamped its massive jaws directly onto the poison dragon. The glowing red in its eyes clearly revealed its intent to eliminate the companion it deemed the easiest prey first. The atmosphere across the entire arena shifted at the sight. All of Eleufan's pet companions turned toward it in unison. Lightning crackled in some of their hands, others began gathering their power, and some rushed forward to save Shioji. But this proved to be the flame python's greatest mistake. The one it had dismissed as the weakest was, in fact, the poison dragon. Shioji, just as the flame python tried to crush him within its jaws, a deep green, toxic mist began to pour from Shioji's entire body within seconds. The poison had spread across the flame python's face and into its mouth. Hiss! The flame python writhed in agony. Its eyes narrowed, and it instantly snapped its mouth open. Seizing the opportunity, Shioji nimbly broke free from its grip. Flipping through the air, he looked at the flame python and said, "Is that all the terror you could muster?" Shioji had sustained minor injuries from the flame python's attack, but Eleufan's team consisted of more than just attackers. At that moment, their healer companion rushed forward and steadied Shioji. She smiled and said, "Don't worry. I'll have you fully healed in no time." As she spoke, emerald green life energy began to flow from her hands. Fountain of life. A green light enveloped Shioji's entire body. His wounds began to heal rapidly, and within moments, his lost strength returned. The flame python's movements had slowed down significantly compared to before. Observing its condition, Eleufan smiled faintly and remarked, "Shioji's poison turned out to be even more lethal than I expected." The poison had gradually spread throughout the flame python's entire body. Its massive frame was no longer as agile as before, and its power was steadily waning. This was the moment Eleufan had been waiting for. He immediately raised his hand and issued a command to his next pet companion. The very next instant, flames erupted all around. A fire skeleton emerged from amidst the blazing inferno. While everything else around it had been reduced to ash. It began to rise slowly into the air. Flames swirled around it like a vortex, and the fire skeleton companion began to merge with its power. Suddenly, flames burst forth across the entire sky. The majestic form of a colossal fire phoenix manifested behind Eleufan. Its burning eyes and outspread fiery wings illuminated the entire battlefield. In that moment, it seemed as though the Emperor of Fire himself had descended upon the battlefield. A faint smile played on Eleufan's lips as he gazed at his evolved dragon. Lord, he assessed its newfound power and thought to himself, tenfold. All its attributes have increased tenfold simultaneously. This power is truly incredible. His pet hadn't merely become slightly stronger than before. Its strength, speed, defense, and spiritual energy, everything had surged manifold. Eleufan was also aware of a limitation to this power. However, this effect lasts for only 5 minutes, and can be used just once a day. Clenching his fist and smiling, he said, "But 5 minutes? That is all it takes to decide the outcome of this fight. The situation was changing rapidly at the command office of Outpost Number 1 in the far northern borderlands, amidst the freezing winds. This vast military base was monitoring the border with its customary vigilance. Tanks were deployed all around, trucks laden with weaponry stood ready, and soldiers in watchtowers kept a close eye on every movement. A helicopter circling overhead was conducting continuous reconnaissance of the border. As if sensing the approach of a major threat, the commander, seated in the Northern Border Command office, cast a final glance at the report lying before him. The information contained in the report deepened the grave expression on his face. This news must reach Lu Fan immediately. Without wasting a moment, he picked up the phone and dialed Lu Fan's number directly. Meanwhile, suddenly, Lu Fan's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and immediately answered the call. "Hello?" The commander's voice on the other end of the line was graver than ever before. He spoke in a low but clear voice. "Lu Fan, we've received new information regarding the ancient gods, but this time, the situation is different." Lu Fan listened in silence. Then, the commander delivered the news that silenced the entire atmosphere for a moment. "This time, the awakening of not just one, but 3 ancient gods has been confirmed." Lu Fan's eyes widened upon hearing this. He asked in a tone of disbelief, "What did you say?" 3? Now, Lu Fan faces the threat of not just one, but 3 ancient deities. Who exactly are they? Will Lu Fan be able to defeat the Flame Python and complete his 5th advancement? And what new challenges lie ahead for him? You will find the answers to all these questions in the next chapter. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss updates on the next chapter. See you in the next video. Thank you and take care.